Hello, you're watching India Today Global with me, Ishita Mitra, and the big story we're tracking today is about US President-elect Donald Trump's new team. Now, the US election is done and dusted, but we're getting more and more announcements on who all are getting incorporated into Trump's team. And interestingly, most of them are pro-India and happen to have anti-China leanings. So let's start with the latest announcements. First up, Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth. Now, he has been tapped into the role of Secretary of Defense of the United States. Now, Trump described him as a smart, tough, and a true believer in America First policy. If you look at his record, now Hegseth is an Army National Guard veteran who served in countries including Afghanistan, Iraq, Cuba, and of course Guantanamo Bay. And if you talk about his journalism experience, he is a conservative media personality with a large following of his own. He's a co-host for Fox News, and there's a show that he hosts, basically Fox and Friends Weekend, and also he serves as a host for Fox Nation. Now, this appointment becomes crucial because it comes at a time when the world is dealing with several conflicts. Hegseth would head the Pentagon with increasing conflicts on multiple fronts. You have Russia-Ukraine war, you have Israel-Hamas war in West Asia, and of course you have rising tensions in the South China Sea as well. Next up, we have John Ratcliffe. Now, he's going to head the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA. Earlier reports suggested that Kash Patel, somebody who is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump and played a major role in his campaign, could be roped in for this role. However, it didn't turn out this way. Now, when we talk about Ratcliffe, so he was a director of National Intelligence Agency at the end of Trump's first term. And he's also served as the nation's top spy from about late May 2020 until Trump left the office in January 2021. If we talk about his ideology, so he's been a major critic of President Joe Biden and the way he's handled the conflicts in West Asia. And specifically the issues that he's going to focus on includes Iran's military and its growing prowess in West Asia, North Korea's nuclear weapons, and of course foreign interference in the US election. Now, this is in reference to China and Russia. But you must know that he is also known for his hawkish stance on China, which becomes very important. Now, he claims that China aims to dominate the US and the rest of the planet through three means: economically, militarily, and technologically. And he wants to counter this through his own policy. Next up, we have Michael Waltz. Now, he's been named as the National Security Advisor. Now, Waltz is a US congressman from Florida, and he was also a colonel in the US Army National Guard. Now, this is an important thing, that most of the people that have been roped into Trump's team are actually Army veterans. And if you talk about this guy, so he's been one of the most vocal critics of China in the US Congress. For China, he's called for US to reduce its dependence on the country in terms of critical minerals, and he's even sponsored a legislation to protect US universities from Chinese influence. Now, this is through the institutes that China runs to promote its own culture. They basically run these institutes worldwide, and what this guy says is that China uses these institutes to push forward its agenda in terms of gathering information and trying to spy on other agencies. Now, he's also led a congressional delegation to India in the year 2023. He attended the Independence Day celebrations with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And he's also someone who's issued a lot of warnings about the growing China-Pakistan axis in Asia and how it could serve as a potential threat to both India and US. Now, remember, this is a view that's not shared by a lot of people in the US Congress. And of course, in terms of pushing his ideology further, and as a co-chair of the House India Caucus, he also called for a former security alliance between the United States and India. Next up, we have Marco Rubio. Now, he's the leading contender. He's not been declared yet, but he is the leading contender for Secretary of State in Trump's administration. Now, when we talk about Rubio, so he's again been a vocal advocate for strengthening ties with New Delhi, which he views as a very crucial partner in the Indo-Pacific. He again has some very strong views on China, Cuba, and Iran. He has time and again criticized Beijing for its human rights abuses, its unfair trade practices, and its aggressive actions in the South China Sea. He's been pushing for a lot of policies that could economically pressure China in terms of using better trade practices and in terms of not acting as an assertive and this aggressive power in the South China Sea. He's also somebody who has supported both US and India working together to tackle this China threat. Next up, now this is again our latest announcement. We have South Dakota's Governor Kristi Noem. Now she's been named as the Homeland Security Secretary, and she's going to work with the border czar Tom Homan, another major appointment that was made by Donald Trump very recently. Now, if we talk about Donald Trump's campaign, now before he got elected, so he pledged in his campaign that he's going to secure the border, restore safety for American people, and of course cut down on the illegal immigration. Now, he's somebody who's promised to bring about the largest deportation plan in the US history. So, cutting down on immigration is something that was a major plank of his campaign, and Noem is the person who's going to be in charge of the agencies that enforce these laws, including US Immigration and Customs Enforcement and US Customs Border Protection. If we talk about this person, so she's been a fierce critique of Biden administration's immigration policies. She was the first person who even sent National Guard troops in 2023 to help Governor of Texas to police the border. And then again, something that we have been waiting for and was much anticipated, what portfolio will Elon Musk get? So we have two people here, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. These are not usual appointments because they are going to lead a newly established department. The department is called the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, the tasks would include this: to dismantle the government bureaucracy, cut on the excess regulation, and to cut on the wasteful expenditure and restructure the federal agencies. So basically say that all the federal agencies in the US, they have been plagued by corruption, and the taxes and the tax regime that they have, it's very excess, it's very strict for people. So they want to deregulate that, they want to make it more simple, and they want to cut down on the role of bureaucracy. This is where the private sector would come in place, and they want to increase the role of private sector entities in this business basically, and they want to bring in more people from private sector into this. Now, the former president, PC, he's basically set a deadline for their work. He said that their work has to get finished no later than July next year. So this means they have this window to complete their work. Now, the others also, when we talk about Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Nikki Haley, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, so these are the people who have been supporting Trump throughout his campaign, but they have not been accommodated into the team so far. Now, they might get some position in the future as we see that announcements are still rolling on, so they might get some role in some form, but as of now, these are the people who have not been accommodated into the team so far. And thank you, viewers, for watching this. These are the people who have been accommodated into Trump's new team, and they're going to play a major role in Trump 2.0 administration as it continues to as we continue to see more announcements in the future. Thank you for watching this. Stay tuned to India Today Global for more such updates.